Okay, guys, before we start the class today, please read Al-Fatihah together with carefully. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, arrahmanirrahim, maliki yaumiddin, iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim, ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Okay, thank you. I hope you are fine and nice to meet you again in the second semester. I will teach you about the basic science of nursing. This is a new course in this second semester, and I think you still understand the international class will be held with the new curriculum. So I will explain about this course today. Before we start about the basic concept of the pathophysiology and physiology. Okay. What is the basic nursing of science? If you hear about the basic nursing of science, this course will learn about the nursing procedure, which are the scientific basic in nursing practice, covers the basic concept of pathology and pathophysiology. And then we will discuss about the infections agents, about the genetic and cell mutation, about the blood clotting, and then medical physics in supporting examination. Also, we will discuss about the fluid and electrolyte balance, and also related lifestyle with the disease. So, we will teach about some illness and some causes of the illness. The learning experience in basic nursing of science course will be carried out by students, include learning in class and practicum in the classroom laboratory. And I suppose if the basic nursing of science in international class will be held in online system. How many credit and how the evaluation of basic nursing science? The credits and basic nursing science is the totally have 4 SKS, 4 credits, and 3 credits to the theory. So we will have, so the basic nursing of science is going to have 21 meetings to the theory, and then 1 credits about the laboratory activities, include 14 meetings for the laboratory activities. How about the evaluation of this course? The evaluation of this course will be held about some tasks like the laboratory activities, less 20%, and then the project results about the 20%, and then quizzes about the 10%, mid examination 20%, also last examination 20%, and don't forget we count your lecture attendance, and the lecture attendance will be held into 10%.
Maaf, Miss.
Oke.
Ada beberapa orang yang nggak bisa absen, Miss.
Oke. I will present you. Can we continue the lesson?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Next, we will discuss about the material of the study. Actually, we will discuss a core topic, and then the material of study in basic science of nursing. For the first, we will discuss about the basic concept of pathology and pathophysiology. This is including adaptation, injury, and cell aging, and then the congenital abnormalities, cell growth and differentiation. Also, we will learn about the inflammatory response. The second topic is about the concept of infectious agents. In this topic, we will discuss about the viruses, bacteria, fungi, parasites, rickettsia, chlamydia. Also, we will discuss about the factors affecting the transmission of infection agents, differences in the infectious process of various infection agents, and blah, blah, blah. And then the third of the topic is about the concept of genetic, including the function of chromosome in humans. Also, we will learn about the cell cycle, mitotic division and meiosis, DNA structure. Also, we will discuss about the RNA, gene expression, genetic disorder, and genetic variation in individuals and population. For the next, we will discuss about the concept of cell mutation. So we will learn about the cancer, about the mutation cells, about the mutation formation, mutant formation, about the change due to mutation. And for the fifth, we will discuss for the concept of blood clotting, which include the mechanism of blood clotting, extrinsic pathway, and etc. And then for the next, we will discuss also about the concept of importance of anatomical pathology examination. In this topic, we will discuss about the clinical pathology, like what is the hematologic examination, arterial gas examination, feces and urine examination. Also, we will learn about the introduction about the DNA testing, radiologic examination, and blah, blah, blah. For the seventh, we will discuss about the concept of fluid and electrolyte balance. And then for the last topic, we will discuss about the concept of lifestyle that can affect to the health, including influence of smoking, alcohol, drugs, or radiation, and then obesity, metabolic syndrome like diabetic type 1 or diabetic type 2, and also the others of the illness. Okay, this is the topic we will discuss in this semester. In this term, include 21 meetings. Any question until here before I continue the lessons? Not yet? Okay, I will continue the explanation. So we have the laboratory activities, and the laboratory activities is going to help into 14 meetings. The topics are microscope, microbiology, meiosis and mitosis, genetics and Mendel's law, and then the blood pressure and bioacoustic. Blood pressure and bioacoustic check, and then the biooptic examination, and also we learned about the biothermal and biomedical examination. In this topic, we will learn about the temperature in our body, and then about the strengths of muscles. Next, we will learn about the check the erythrocyte or examination of the erythrocyte sedimentation rate and Sahley hemoglobin. And then we will also practice about the blood group examination like ABO and rhesus. And then we will discuss or learn about the checking blood sugar, blood glucose, cholesterol, and uric acid. After that, we will have a case discussion. We have 2 discussion of the cases, and then after that we will practice we will examination for the practical or for the laboratory activities. We have 2 examination for the laboratory activities, same with the theory. The theory will be held into 2 examination, a mid examination, and the last examination, last exam for the last term. This is the references. The references will be which we need to know in this course. About the main references and the addition references. I think the references is suitable in a book, so you can searching about the references, and then you can download this and you can learn by yourself. Okay, any question about this course, guys, before we continue the basic concept in pathophysiology and pathology? Any question?
No, miss.
Okay. Oh, I don't forget about the material of the viruses. The material of the viruses, and this is okay. Okay. For the PIC of the lessons today about the basic nursing science, Kurnia Alala. I still remind you about the concept of infectious agents. We will teach about, we will be teach with the Mrs. Wiwit Probowati, and Miss Wiwit Probowati still in Japan because she is a candidate of PhD students. So the lectures will only can held in weekend, in Saturday and Sunday. So please contact her to get some schedule, a new schedule for the concept of infectious agents. I think this can be held in the next week. You can take some appointment with her to have classes on the Sunday or Saturday. Do you understand, Kurnia Ulala?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, thank you. And about the microscopic laboratory, we will learn to the next weeks. I have some new appointment with you untuk membayar utang itu. Oke ya. Okay, guys. Next we will learn some concepts in pathophysiology and pathology. So, the conclusion of the basic nursing science is the science which learns about the pathophysiology and pathology of the illness. So, before we know about the pathophysiology and pathology, we must understanding about the cells. I think all of you must be understand about the cells. What is the cells? The cell is the body's basic building block, and the cell is the smallest living component of an organism, so it's very important. And then it's very smallest, and you can look the cell with the microscopic tools. So in humans, our body consists of millions of the cells grouped into highly specialized units that function together throughout the organism life. If the cell will be collect and make a large group, so the cells will call tissues such as muscles, blood, and bone, and etc. Tissue can form the organs such as brain, heart, and liver, which are integrated into body system such as CNS or central nervous system, cardiovascular system, and digestive system. It is the basic concept, and I suppose you must be understand about the cells in our body. Okay, I just remind you about some information for the cell components. This is the picture about the cells, and in our cells have some organelles, have various structures like organelles, and from each organelles have a specific function. On the cells, contains not only organelles, but also contains about the cytoplasm. What is cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is about an aqueous mass that's surrounded by the cell's membrane. And on the cells have largest organelles. This is about the DNA or deoxyribonucleic acid. And on the DNA, it carries genetic material and is very responsible for cellular reproduction or division. So the DNA is very important for the cells. For the example, cells have some components like adenosine triphosphate or ATP, which can make some energy for the cells, and the energy is made by mitochondria. Mitochondria is very important because the energy is original from the mitochondria. And then the ribosome and the endoplasmic reticulum. In the plasmic reticulum, you can do you still remember about the endoplasmic reticulum? Because we have two endoplasmic reticulum, SMAD ER and granule ER. Ribosome and ER synthesis proteins and metabolize fat within the cells, and also the other organelles about the Golgi apparatus holds enzyme system that acting in complementing the cell's metabolic function, completing the cell's metabolic function. And also in our cells have the lysosome organelles, which contain enzyme that allow cytoplasmic ligation to be completed. I remind you about the cells division and reproduction. Actually, the cell reproduction occur in two stages. The first is called the mitosis, and the second stage is called cytokinesis. If you still remember about the mitosis, mitosis will be held into four phases, and then the cytokinesis is the cell reproduction or cell division, which the cytoplasm will be divided into two parts. And then the cytoplasma can convert into the two new cells. Okay. Before division, a cell must double its mass and contents. The condition is called the interphase. In interphase, you can remember about the chromatid. Chromatin is the small and slender rods in nucleus that give its granular appearance begins to form. And then about the four phases of mitosis, there are prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. You must remember about the process, because this process because this process is sequentially process. So it must the sequencing the process for the first prophase and the next metaphase, and the next one is anaphase, and the last is telophase. For the prophase, you can see at the picture the chromosome coils. This is the chromosome coils. This is the chromosome coil. Chromosome coils will be shortened and the nuclear membrane dissolves. And then we can see at the picture in prophase, this is about the centriole. This is centriole. And the next phase is about the metaphase. The key word of the metaphase is the centromere will be divided and a line of the middle of the spindle. This is centromeres. And then for the next process is anaphase, and the key for the anaphase is the centromere will be spared. And then pull chromosome toward opposite sides of these cells. And for the last phase is telophase. On the telophase, we can see at the picture, new membrane forms around chromosomes, and then the cytoplasma will be divided. If the cytoplasma divides into two parts, it's called a cytokinesis. Cytokinesis. For the anaphase, you can see for the picture, on the anaphase will be present 46 chromosomes. And then the telophase, for the each membrane consists of 46 chromosomes. And if the cytokinesis occurs, the phase will be producing two identical new daughter cells. Okay. Any question before I continue my explanation? If you have some question for this course today, you can chat on the chat books, Waalaikumsalam, or you can raise your hand. Okay, not yet. I will continue the lessons. So, we must talk about the pathophysiology versus the pathology. What is the pathophysiology and what is the pathology? Well, both terms denote the study of disease. Actually, pathophysiology and pathology is the terms for the study of the disease. Pathophysiology and pathology both are denote the study of the disease. The term about the pathology is about the dealing with all aspects of the disease. And then if you study about the pathology, it's very available for the doctors and or for pathologists or for the laborants who are also interested in macro and microscopic characteristics of the tissue and organs to know about what is the causes of the illness. What is the major cause of the illness? But if you study about the pathophysiology only focus is on abnormal malfunction of disease organs. And then it's very coherent with the applications for the diagnostic procedures leading to patient care. So the pathophysiology is very close for the nurse to understanding about the illness about the disease of the patients. But the pathology is closest for the doctors or medicines to know about the core of the causes of the disease. Do you understand, guys? Do you understand what my explanation?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. So, if we learn about the pathophysiology, we will know about the disturbance of normal mechanical, physical, and biochemical functions, either caused by a disease or resulting from a disease, or abnormal syndromes or condition that might not qualify to be called a disease. For the other definition, pathophysiology is the study of the biological and physical manifestation of disease as they correlate with the underlying abnormalities and physiological disturbance. On this screen, you can see at the picture. This is the picture about the house of medicine. For the foundation house, this is a house of medicine. And then for the foundation, is about some sciences like anatomical, biological, histological, biochemistry, and biophysiology. And then for the best lab is about the physiology. So if you have the good understanding about the physiology, I'm sure you must have the good understanding of the illness of the other's disease from the patient, because the physiology is the best lab. And then for the walls of the house of medicine is about the pathology. We still learn now, and then about the pharmacology and microbiology. The microbiology will be learned in this semester on BNS, or Basic Nursing Sciences. And then for the ceiling plate is about the neurology, gynecology, and obstetric. This is about the pregnancy of the women, and then about the pediatricians, about the surgery and internal medicine. So you can learn about the neurology, gynecology, and obstetric surgery, internal medicine, and etc. in third semester. If you understand the physiology and basic nursing science about the pathophysiology with the good understanding, so I think it's very easy for you to understand about the malfunction on neurons, malfunction on reproduction, and etc. You can easier to understanding about some disease or clinical manifestation of the patient with some illness. Okay. Now we will divide the pathophysiology into two parts. For the first is general pathophysiology, and for the second is about the special pathophysiology. If you study about the general pathophysiology, you will learn about the general pathologic processes and pathomechanism. They are involved in pathogenesis of more than one disease. So in general pathology, you can understand about the inflammation, fever, about the hyperthermia, shock, stress, edema, and also the others like hyporeactivity, autoimmunity, and etc. But if you study about the spatial pathophysiology, you will learn about some disturbance in specific organs, like hematologic disorders. For the example, about the hemophilia, anemia, and etc. And then disorder of cardiovascular system like acute myocardial infarct or the cardiac failure and etc. And dysfunction of respiratory system like asthma or COVID-19 maybe, and disorders of uropathic system like kidney failure, renal failure, and then the prostate problems, and etc. And then about the neurological disorders like stroke, like injury in brain, some injury on the patient's brains, and dysfunction of endocrine system like diabetic maybe, Addison disease maybe, and also the diabetic insipidus maybe, and etc. And then for the metabolic disorders like a syndrome metabolic, for the obesity, for the smoking or alcoholism, or the cirrhosis hepatic, and etc. And disorder of reproduction system like impotency, and then the fertility, and also the cancer of the reproduction system for the woman, and also etc. And the last about this function of GIT or gastrointestinal system like a diarrhea, maybe about the gastritic, about the what is typhoid, and then also the cancer of the intestine, and etc. So can you get the differentiates about the general pathophysiology and special pathophysiology, guys? Hello? Can you understanding? Can you get the differences between the special and general pathophysiology? Are you still in here?
Yes, Miss.
Can you get the differences about the two topics? Between the two topics?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, thank you, Arman. Okay, next, the core aspect of disease in pathology. Okay, for the first, we must know about the pathology came from the Latin words. This is about, there are patho and logis, and patho means disease and logi means studies. If you study about the pathology, so you can give explanation about the disease. And then you can understanding this course about the pathology with 4 aspects of the disease. What is the 4 aspects of the disease? The 4 aspects of the disease are etiology. Etiology means the causes of the disease. And then for the next is pathogenesis. Pathogenesis means a mechanism through with the cause of the disease, or like this pathogenesis like story, or no story, travel of the disease. Perjalanan penyakit, about the perjalanan penyakit or traveling of the disease. And then for the next is about the morphologic changes. This is about the structural alteration in cells or tissue that occur following the pathogenetic mechanism. And for the last is about the functional rearrangements and clinical significance. If you study about the functional rearrangements and clinical significance, you can understanding why the sign and symptoms help on the patient with this disease. You can know why the typhoid will be favored, why the COVID-19 will have symptoms like nausea, vomitus, and also fatigue, maybe lemes, maybe fatigue, and etc. And basic nursing science, you must familiar with the prognosis term. What is prognosis term? Prognosis is a prediction of the chance of recovery or survival from a disease. So if you talk about the prognosis, is very closest with the statistic data about the disease on the general population. Actually, prognosis can vary depending on several factors, such as the stage of disease at diagnosis, like the cancer, maybe for the first stadium is very different prognosis with the 4 stadiums. And the type of the disease, maybe the cancer is located on the intestine, very differentiate with the cancer which located on the blood, like a leukemia or etc. And also very depend with the gender, because male and female have different hormones. So it's very influence for the disease, for the many disease. Okay. Any question until here? Not yet? Okay. For the prognosis will be known after we have some examination for the patient disease, like radiology, maybe on hematologic examination, on MRI examination, or ultrasonography examination, and etc. They are called a biomarker of the disease. This is about some diagnostic techniques used in pathology, like histopathology. Histopathology is examination on the tissue of these organs. So the tissue will be taken and cut by microscopic tools, and then we can check the tissue under a microscopic. You can see at the picture like this. And then for the others is about the cytopathology. Cytopathology is the examination of the cells. So it must be smallest than histopathologic, and then the others are hematopathologic. You can take some examination with the blood of the patient, and also immunohistochemistry or IHC is about the tissue, the organs, and then you can cut the organs just a little to check with some reagents to know about the condition of the cells. And microbiological examination like viruses, bacteria, and also fungi, maybe like poliomyelitis disease, and etc. And biochemical examination like blood examination. Also, we know about the cytogenetics. This is the examination for DNA. And also we know about the molecular techniques. Molecular techniques is about the examination for the gene, the genomic of the proteomics, and etc. Because it's very, very difficult and it's very smallest of the cells, so the cytogenetics and molecular techniques is very, very expensive examination. And also we know about the autopsy. Autopsy, I think all of you must be understand about the autopsy. Okay, next we will discuss about the causes of the disease. The causes of the disease, so you must know what is the disease. Disease actually can be caused by either environmental factors, genetic factors, or a combination of the two. What is environmental causes? Actually, if you study about the environmental causes of the disease, it's so many, and it can be classified into 6 causes. For the first is the physical agents. Physically agents. What is the physical agents? The physical agents is about the trauma, radiation, also about the extreme of the temperature or electrical power. The conclusion of the physical agents is about the physical energy in any form to the body. And the second cause is about the chemicals, like some drugs, alcoholics, or maybe for the example is cyanida, or narcotics, and etc. And then the third cause is about the nutritional deficiency and excesses. For the example to the nutritional deficiency, like something about the inefficient transport the nutrition with the body, or malnutrition, or defective utilization of the energy, like some disease with the disturbance endocrines or with the disturbance hormones. And then if you talk about the excesses nutritional, like obesity. And for the next cause is infection and infestations. I think you must know about this because the infection is very close with the virus, bacteria, fungi, and then worm, etc. And for the next causes is immunological factors. If you talk about the immunological factors, I think you must remember because the immunological factors will be divided into 3 parts. For the first part is about the hypersensitivity reaction, hypersensitivity reaction for the allergic, like this. And for the second, about the immunodeficiency, immunodeficiency disease like AIDS, HIV or AIDS, and the immunological factors. For the example, for the third is about the autoimmune. Autoimmune is an abnormal immune reaction, which the immune reaction against the self antigens in patient's body. For the example, for the immunological factors for the autoimmunes like diabetic type 1, which the disease can help if the immunity system against the Langerhans. Langerhans is part of the pancreas or parts of the spleen, and if the Langerhans will against with the immunity cells, so it can make the diabetic type 1. Okay, and the next for the environmental causes is the physiogenic factor. Psychogenic factors. Psychogenic factors like mental factors, for the example, stress, depressions, and mental stress, depression, and etc. And the causes of disease, the other causes of the disease is genetic factors. Genetic factors very closest with the inherited genetically from your parents, from patient parents. We will discuss about the genetic factors with Bu Lutfi in the next meeting. Okay. Next, we will discuss about the course of the disease or the perjalanan penyakit or course of the disease. Course of disease in the absence of any intervention is called the natural history of the disease. If we talk about the course of disease, we must know about the exposure to various risk factors, maybe about the viruses or the bacteria or the fungi and etc. like COVID-19. We must know about the exposure with the viruses of the COVID. And then for the second is about the latency. Latency is the period between exposure and biological onset of the disease. So this is a latency period. And if the biological onset happen, biological onset of diseases is the mark, the initiation of this disease process. So if the biological onset happens, the patient will be feel the sign of symptoms of the disease, like a fever, like disease maybe, or headache, or stomach illness, or like a fatigue, and etc. And next is about the clinical onset. The clinical onset is about the signs and symptoms of the disease become apparent. Biological concept and clinical onset very close, but the clinical onset, many symptoms happen on the patients. And then for the next is permanent damage. Permanent damage, and the last is about the death. If the permanent damage cannot cured, so the patient will be dead. This is about the picture about the course of the disease for the first exposure to disease, and for the second latent period maybe 1 and until 2 days. And then for the third is biological onset. In biological onset, some people or some patient become infectious, but the sign or symptoms happen to the patient is less than the clinical symptoms. If the clinical symptoms happen, the patient will feel safer or feel many problems with their healthy. You can see at the many signs or symptoms which can tell with you from the healthicians, for the healthicians. And then this is incubation, maybe incubation period. Incubation periods refers to variable periods of time without any obvious signs or symptoms from the time of exposure. And then the clinically onset. And if the clinically onset happen and the clinical onset cannot be cured, so the onset of permanent damage, like for the example, for the COVID-19, the pulmonary or the pulmonary of the patient will be broken down, and if the pulmonary cannot be cured, so the patient will be dead. After we know about that, we must know about the stress and disease. Stress stress is some etiology or some causes which can happen to the people, and it can make the people sick. And if the people cannot be cured, the people have some illness. The mentality is very curious very important problem, because if the mentality have a disorder, so the physicality will be disordered too. When a stressor such as a life change occurs, a person can respond in one of two ways. If the stressor happen for the people, you have two choices, like adapting with the stressor, or you cannot adapting with the stressor. If you cannot adapting with the stressor, it's called maladaptive response. And if the maladaptive response held, so it can initiate or it can simulate the many problems on our physique. Like, for the example, if you feel sad, your mentality sets. After that, usually you feel dizzy on your brain. After that, usually you feel a fatigue on your body, lemas di badan, and you have a less food because you're not hungry. You didn't feel hungry. You cannot feel hungry, and it can make some problems after that, like a typhoid, like a gastritic, etc., or hypertension maybe, and etc. So you can see on this picture, this is a Han-Selye general adaptation model. For the first physical or physiological stressors, it can be stimulated the alarm reaction. Alarm reaction can make the arousal of the central nervous system begins, and it can stimulating epinephrine and norepinephrine along with the other hormones are releases, and it can causing an increased heart rate, increased pulse, increases breathing, and etc. And then it can stimulating a resistance. The body responds to the stressor and attempts to return to homeostasis. On resistant phase, the coping mechanisms are used. And the coping mechanisms are used is very important, is the spiritual coping mechanism. Because if we sure that the gods can make happen everything, I think this is very mechanism coping to make we more confident or more merasa tenang ya, menjadi akan lebih tenang, more calm. And if resistance happen, it can be two conditions. You can recovery, or if the coping mechanism didn't success, it will stimulation exhaustion. In exhaustion, the organ damage begins, like hypertension, stroke, or the cardiac failure, and etc. Okay. Next, we will discuss about the outcome and consequences of the disease. Outcome and consequences of the disease will be divided into three. For the first is resolution can occur leaving no sequelae. Sequelae means complication of the disease. And for the next, the disease can settle down. You can cure or patient be cured, but complication or sequelae are left. But the patient have some complication of the disease. And for the last, it may result in death. After this, you can differentiate about the clinical death and biological death. It's very different. Clinical death is the reversible transmission between life and biologic death. clinical death is defined as the period of respiratory, circulatory, and brain arrest during which initiated of resuscitation can lead to recovery. If the clinical death happens, it has some opportunity to the patient to wake up and can be cured after death. So for some movie or some dramas, you can look the clinical deaths is very closest with the RGB or not RGB, resuscitation processes. Like you can measure the core of the patient, cardiac of the patient. This is called resuscitation. And if the resuscitation is successful, so the recovery can occur. Recovery of the patient can occur and the patient will be alive, Signs indicating clinical death are the patient without the pulse or blood pressures. So if you found the patient unresponsive to the most painful stimulus, but the patient still have the pulse, however, the pulse is less or the weak pulse, but the patient still have the pulse. This is indicating a clinical death. Or the patient have the blood pressure meskipun blood pressures will be down or less from the normal. And the second sign indicating clinical death are the pupils are widely dilated. So if you can see the patient with the clinical death, you must give some light to their eyes to know about the dilatation of the pupils, and some reflex reaction to external stimulation are perceived, like it can respiratory may be restored in response to stimulation of the receptor of the sublaryngeal nerve, and etc. So there are signs indicating clinical death. And how about the biological death? Biological death is the sure sign of the death, which sits in after clinical death is an irreversible stage of cellular destruction. So the biological death is the patient not have a response for the some stimulated, like biological death. It means cells will be degenerate and all major organs will be shut down, including brain stems. So if you found the patient with the biological death, you must make an announcement for the family members what time the patient have a biological death. You must make announcements about that because it's very important to take a letter dying or death letters on some hospital. Okay. Guys, I think it's enough for today about the basic concept of physiology and pathophysiology, and I use three references for this course, for this lesson today about the advanced physiology and pathophysiology, Nancy, and understanding pathophysiology on computers, and also pathophysiology made incredible easy for the Wolters Kluwers. It's very easy to listen for you. Any question, guys, before I close the meeting? Are you still here?
Yes, Miss.
Can you understand with my explanation? Can you understand, guys, with my explanation? Because it's all of the time I speak on English. Can you understand?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Any question for today? Not yet?
Not yet, Miss.
Okay. There are some quizzes on the Lensa, on the e-learning, and I will give you announcements about that. So I think better you study first before the quizzes held to take your mark be better than yesterday, than first semester in biomedical nursing. Okay, guys, thank you for your attendance, and thank you for your presence and etc. I very appreciate about that, and I am very grateful to can meet all of you. Can you open your cam? I will make some photograph. Can you? Open your cam for the while to take some photograph. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. It's enough for today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Please say hamdalah together.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, Miss. Thank you,
Miss. Thank you,
Miss.
Miss.
Thank you, Miss.